Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 1 of season 2 of the Todo podcast. Today, I am at South Mountain Community College, joined by Lucero Curiel Martinez, the manager of student life and leadership here on campus. She's going to be talking today about her educational journey and her path to success as a trailblazer, not only within her community, but also with her family. So join me in welcoming Lucero. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Alejandra, for inviting me. I'm so excited to do this.
Me too. So I want you to start off by telling everyone a little bit about yourself and what you do here at South Mountain.
Yeah, so like Alejandra said, my name is Lucero Curiel Martinez, manager of student life and leadership here at South Mountain. And what I do is I oversee our student clubs and organizations, as well as our food and resource pantry, which is a great resource for our students and community members. I do a lot of student activities, events, and engagement, and I absolutely love my job. I love working here in this community, and I'm excited to be here and share with you more about my story.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about how you started here at South Mountain and your journey.
Yes, so I'm going to take it back a little bit because this is actually a full circle for me moment. So I started off as a student in Phoenix College. And when I went to Phoenix College, I, like many first generation students, first to attend college and the family, I had no idea what I was going to do. And so I followed a friend to Phoenix College to do dental assisting. I did my prerequisites, and then I decided to get involved. So I got involved in Student Leadership Council, and that kind of opened up a bunch of doors for me when it came to like opportunities and experiences for students. And so that led me to be involved in a student ambassador program. I was in student public policy forum with Deanna.
Yes, one of our previous guests for everyone.
She was on here. She's amazing. And I really enjoyed my time as a student. It was different for me compared to where I came from. And I ended up getting a job as a student worker at Phoenix College in student life and leadership.
Oh, nice. Yeah, full circle.
Yes, full circle. And so now I think it's like been 13 years since I am now a manager in student life and leadership. And it's crazy because I remember thinking as a student that's the job I wanted. Yeah. And here I am. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes. And also like very different from what you studied, because similarly, like I started as a student worker as well at SMCC in a mentorship program, a very small one. And I was studying interior design. So very different from, ending up working here. And I stayed here because it's very fulfilling. Like what I do is very fulfilling, and helping students is very fulfilling. So from dental hygiene to being here, how was that journey?
How did that happen?
Yes, how did that happen, and how was that journey for you?
Yeah, so what actually ended up happening is because I was exposed to all of these opportunities and experiences, I realized that there was more out there for me, not just dental. And really looking back, I didn't want to do dental. That was just kind of like the quickest, fastest way, as a oldest sister, which you are also an oldest sister. So you understand, I was just kind of looking for something that would get me a job soon. And after doing the prerequisites and after all of these opportunities of like meeting people, traveling, I decided that I wanted to change my major to communications. And so I ended up changing it to communication. So I got my associate in general studies.
Okay.
I transferred to Arizona State University. And there I got my bachelor's in communication.
Love.
Yes. But during that time, I really enjoyed being at Phoenix College. So I ended up working as a part-time employee doing new student orientation.
Love.
Yes, with recruitment and outreach. And then that then soon became a full-time job. And I was going to school full-time while working full-time. It's just one of those things that many first-generation students have to do, right? And so that's how I ended up in education, but really mainly because for me, education saved my life,
Yeah.
really. And
Yeah.
it changed the trajectory of my family. And so knowing what an impact education had on me, I knew that I needed to go and work in education to
Yeah.
be that next person to help other students the way I was helped
Yeah.
through mentorship, through my, you know, bosses in student life and leadership, through my academic advisors. And you know, thankfully, like, I got to meet really awesome employees that like really were there for me. And so
Yeah.
it was a great, I wanted to do that in return, which is
Yeah.
how I ended up in education.
Yes.
I ended up going to after my bachelor's, I went to Arizona State again for my master's degree in higher and post-secondary education.
Yes.
And I just knew from that moment that education was where I wanted to be.
I love that. I love the touch that you said that it changed your life.
Yes.
Did you expect education to change your life
No,
at all?
that's a great question. No, I didn't. You know, like I said, I was going to Phoenix College for dental, thinking I was just gonna get in, get my certificate, and go work. And when I realized, you know, that my life was changing because of education, I was just so amazed, right? And so, no, I did not. I had no idea that it was going to do this to me, which is why I think I'm so passionate about it, right?
Yeah.
Because it was during a really difficult time for me, and education was my only outlet.
Yeah.
And while I was surviving at home, I was thriving at school. And so
Yeah.
that balance really helped me, you know, continue on with my education and not give up. And, you know, things get hard sometimes, but I was so sure of the resources, the support that I had in Maricopa, that I believed in myself. But I didn't believe in myself until other people believed in me first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have similar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that like at home I wasn't believed in. I think in a first generation household it's difficult because there's I don't want to say a lack of knowledge, but there's like a barrier because of the language difference, the cultural difference as well. My parents came from Mexico to here, and although they came here young and they kind of learned the culture, I feel like I've always seen it as a first generation child. Our parents came here to survive, so it's going straight to work. And then for us, all their means to survive was to push us forward, so then we don't have to survive, we can enjoy our life. So with that though, they obviously didn't like going to community college. I remember my first day, my mom was like, I'm coming with you, signing whatever I need to sign, but you have to ask all the questions. And I was like, okay, cool. My brother, I have an older brother, but like I still feel like an oldest like sister. I'm an eldest daughter. And my brother only knew so much, and I was like, I can't even count on this guy. Like, I have to figure it out on myself, because he only got like so far before he started working with my dad. And with that, at college, and it wasn't until recently that I realized I was so blessed to be a part of teams that kept pushing my professional development, but my personal development as well. And that, how you said earlier, like how education also changed the trajectory of your family. I started realizing that all those people that believed in me working here, that somehow trickled into my household, and all of the opportunities that education opened up, just even as a student, was like, my parents were like, that's exactly, keep doing it. That's exactly what we came here for and what we wanted you to do. So it really did just not only influence me and the people, like my peers around me, it influenced my household a lot more than I expected. So,
and I, you know, I also feel the same way, because, you know, my family also came from Mexico, my parents, and, you know, immigrants here in the country. And all they did was work and work. And so they knew they wanted me to go to college, but they had no idea, right? They didn't know about financial aid. They didn't know how to support me. They just knew that I needed to get an education. So me going to college to get an education really, you know, created that for my younger sisters, right? So because I, like you, was blessed with people and with, good professors that believed in me, I wasn't able to do well enough to help my sisters get into college and graduate college. Both of them also went to Phoenix College and also graduated from Phoenix College.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, it really shaped not just me, but my whole family.
Yeah.
And it's great because now my sisters have daughters, and we always talk about education. Things like dual enrollment, A's, achieving in college education while in high school, great programs to look into. And so now I know that my family is now going to be a family of educators and people that get an education.
Yes. So we went to ASI this past week for spring break, and we were talking about how within our team in HSI Excellence, I'm like a second or third generation, right? Because Donna is our first generation, and how much she's changed for us. And then it got me thinking, because then there was another topic that was brought up that we're like first generation Latinos educated as well. And moving down the line, the point is to have it be a full generational, like multiple generations of education. And so both of those kind of just like clicked in my head. And I was like, oh my God, like the point isn't like, there's so much pride in being first generation, but there's even more pride to add on to it when it's not just one generation that's educated, it moves down the line.
Right, yes.
And so I have nieces and nephews as well. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't wait. Like I'm already giving them little books for them to like read and like just feel like empowered by them. But like the barriers that we had, they don't even get to think about like being barriers. My sister, she went to New York, she also graduated from EMCC, and so now we have both of our little associate degrees sitting together. And now she's in New York City studying for her BFA, so her Bachelor's in Fine Arts. And I keep telling her, like, because she's like, I want to come back. And I'm like, if you come back, that's fine, as long as you continue, because like the whole point is the experience. And now your children one day, or even just our niece and nephew, whatever happens, right? They don't even have to think about like, I don't know how to ask mom or dad, like, can I go to, out of state? Like, it's not even going to be a question for them. It's fully an option for them. And that's like the point. So I'm glad that you shared that too, because it's something so beautiful in that like the fear that we once had, the point is to eliminate that fear in general. So with being like an eldest sibling, what were some pressures that you experienced? Because I know I experienced a few, and I know a lot of eldest siblings experience that.
For definitely, especially if you're coming from a Hispanic background, right?
Yes.
Well, definitely the pressure of like doing well and just getting it right the first time. And that was really scary, right? Like the whole process from applying to college, applying for financial aid, enrolling in classes, taking, I don't think they do a placement test anymore, but I did have to do that. And I did not test into college level courses.
Me neither.
I tested into lower level courses, so I had to work my way up. So, it was almost in a way discouraging. Obviously, I didn't let that discourage me, but it didn't feel great to like, I'm struggling. I don't understand the terminology. I'm trying to translate this, information to my parents who don't really understand. And I'm trying to, do it right the first way and figure it out. Right. So figuring it out, trailblazing it, right, was so difficult. And, but that, and then also like when things got hard, I'm the oldest one, so I'm almost a provider as well. Also dealing with just like, I love my Hispanic Mexican culture. There are some things that I wish we could do differently. And I think some of those things that I can share about would be when I was younger, hearing things like calladita te ves más bonita, which means in English, like if you're quiet, you look prettier. Or Lucerito, she's always scared, es bien miedosa. Like little things like that really catch up to you later on. And so you think, okay, maybe if I'm in this meeting, I don't talk as much, or I just kind of sit back and watch and listen.
Yeah.
And that created imposter syndrome. It created lack of confidence, right? I'm always just kind of like in the background. And so those are things that I wish we could change. And, you know, knowing me and like my, if I have children, I will not be using those type of terminology, things that like we might consider as sweet, you know, as we're, you know, young, because I know that those can affect us in the future. And so those are constant. So even the internal battles that I had within myself, right? Like imposter syndrome, the self confidence, I was still dealing with those things on top of trying to figure it out. So it was a lot.
Do you feel like you have like a different point of view now looking back? Like if you look at it in retrospect, like how do you view that now, the imposter syndrome and just those pressures that you used to have?
Yeah, oh my God, that's a great question. Well, I'm not gonna lie, there are still times where I still feel the imposter syndrome, but I quickly remind myself, like, no, you can do this. Like you've got this. You've done this before. You've done harder, and you are, you know, I kind of have to like give myself pep talks. You know, I've had to rewire my brain, you know, to like be more affirmative and positive thinking, and know that I can do this and believe in myself. Because I told you earlier, you know, I didn't believe in myself. It was when my mentors saw, you know, greatness in me, I was like, okay, like if they see it, why can't I? And so now, you know, I look back and I think about like how it all leads up from my childhood, my parents really, you know, unintentionally telling me these things, not thinking that they were going to affect me later on, right? So now it's great to be in this role because now I get to support other students that I get to support other students that are in the same steps, you know, are having the same issues. And so now I have to be this confident person for them. So it kind of helps me, you know, just do better. But yeah.
How do you see not only the impact and the influence that like you give to students, because it's easier to see it that way because students will always come back and be like, oh my gosh, like they'll share their successes with you, but also within your family, not maybe just your siblings, but also like other family members, nieces, nephews, cousins, even your parents. Do you see that impact of everything that you've done?
Oh my gosh, yes, definitely. I have cousins that come to me. Another thing about being the first one to go to college and the eldest is that you are the person that everyone goes to for help. Family including, which is great. You know, I'm happy to be someone that can support. And so I've been able to be that person. I've seen it change with my sisters, you know, getting an education, them believing in themselves that they can do it too, and becoming homeowners and parents. With my students, it's amazing seeing the progress from beginning to end with their own self-confidence. And it's been an amazing impact. And I know there will be so much more in the future, which I'm excited for.
I love that. I love it so much. Do you have any... No, I think we have a little bit more time. So, can you, or actually, this is a good one. Where has education overall taken you that like you probably didn't expect at all?
Okay, I love that question. You know what? So with education, like I said, at first it was like, okay, just get a degree, but then all these opportunities, you know, popped up. Being involved in the Student Public Policy Forum, I was able to travel to Washington, D.C., Denver, Colorado. I got other free opportunities to travel where I went to Miami, Florida, Los Angeles, California, again, Washington, D.C. And that's where I realized, like, whoa, like the world is big. It's big. And I, you know, was blessed to get these opportunities paid for, so my family didn't have to worry about, you know, covering costs for those expenses. But that's when I quickly realized that like traveling was a great way to learn. And so something in Maricopa, but as part of the mission, is that they create leaders that can go out in the world, you know, and do great things. And so, you know, after I graduated with my master's degree and I spent some time working in Maricopa, my husband and I decided to actually quit our job, sell everything so we can travel the world.
Nice.
And that is not something that I ever imagined doing. Like, that is not something that I think at the time I was like, one day I'm going to travel the world, because I was so focused on like the present and figuring out school and, you know, all of these challenges. I wasn't really thinking like of all the good, you know, all these great things that could come from that.
Yeah.
But education really gave me that confidence to put myself out there, to not be scared, and to dive into the unknown.
Yeah.
And so we traveled to 25 countries in 10 months. Yes, and it was really cool because you don't really typically see a lot of Hispanic backpackers.
Yeah.
And so me and my husband were one of the very few backpackers traveling. So we only had a backpack, a couple of jeans, 2 pairs of shoes.
Oh my gosh.
It was really difficult. But, you know, it was the my education that really got me to do something amazing like that. And, you know, traveling the world, getting to meet people out in, you know, from different cultures and backgrounds, and seeing the traditions that they have, you know, it's just made me realize that we're all more similar than we think. It gave me a really different perspective to life. It really humbled me in ways too, going to third world countries, you know, seeing the difficulties and challenges that they're facing. And, you know, it just gave me really a whole new perspective. And I think that getting that education, if had it not been for Maricopa and my education, I don't know if I would be able to travel like that. And so, you know, I hope that when students hear this, they realize that this is an opportunity for them too, an option. You know, if they're able to travel for their family, to explore the world, because learning is inside and outside of the classroom. And we've learned that, right? And it's just a great way to really explore opportunities, to be exposed to different things that we're not used to. So education brought me so many things other than my degrees, and a great job, of course. And so very blessed.
Yes, well, thank you so much for sharing that with us today. And if you guys have any more questions for Lucero, please come and see her at the Student Life office over here at South Mountain Community College. Do you want to touch a little bit more on the resources that you provide for students?
Yes, sure. So whether you're at South Mountain or any other college, make sure to check out the Student Life and Leadership office. That is where you can go for any food or home resources. And our pantry, we have feminine products, we have cleaning supplies, really things that you don't really think would be out of food shelter. Food as well. Check them out as well if you need some help with transportation. Maybe you need some bus passes. Go to them if you need help connecting with, you know, tutoring or counseling or any other resource that they can connect you with. So that's, you know, something that we do. If you want to get involved, I highly recommend it. It's what changed my life, is getting involved, putting myself out there, trying to do new things. So get involved, whether that's joining a club, becoming a leader of a club, an organization. Volunteering is a great way to not only boost your resume, but also gain some more experience as well. So great place to visit. My doors are always open. I'm in the student union here, and I know that all the other Student Life and leadership managers and directors are always welcoming students.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I will share Lucero's contact information here as well for you all. And thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and we hope to see you back for episode 2. Bye.